Settings. I think we're live now. Yes, we are. I'm just gonna fiddle with a setting real quick. I'm trying to turn on light mode, dark theme off. There we go. Trying to get a little bit more light. Oh, I didn't do it. Weird. Because now I've got, it's here, but not here. Huh. Oh well. We will just work with what we've got. Alright. Cable assembly articles are divided into how many parts? So, what you need to know... Oh, it's only 10:45. I will give it a couple... I'll talk about this one for a minute. Cable assembly articles are... You're not going to find anything in the code book that says cable assembly. You're going to... A cable assembly is Romex or AC cable, MC cable, any of those like that. It's Fcc Cable is another one. A cable assembly is just a category. It's like conduit. If you put conduit articles are each divided into how many parts, you would kind of know that that's a spectrum of articles. Cable assembly is the same thing. There's probably 10 articles that are different cable assemblies. Each one of those, if you look in your table of contents, you'll see that there are 3 articles, excuse me, for each cable assembly. Part 3 of the cable assembly articles addresses which of the following? Construction specification. Again, table of contents will give you this one. Type FCC cable is defined in what section of the NEC? So that's going to be 324 is the article that covers type FCC cable. And then the definitions are the .2 there. FCC cable is pretty neat. Let's look that up. Images. So this is FCC cable. It's flat cable. It's not just this ribbon cable. It's... I mean, it is. This is... but what they use it for in our world is they can use it to go underneath, like, carpet. Like, that you just lay it on the concrete and you put carpet on top of it. And you can run a plug to a spot that you wouldn't normally have been able to. But you have to be able to access it, which is like a couple questions from now. So, bending radius is going to be in part 2. That's installation requirements. Again, in the table of contents. Installation requirements for FCC cable. So you'll look that up in the FCC cable section. Under installation requirements, you'll just scan through that until you find your answer. So that's again going to be, I think this will be in the construction specifications actually, not in the installation. But you look up type AC cable and then go to construction specifications. Should be construction specifications. Just look that up right there and you'll have it. Oh, good. Oh. Whenever I saw 16 of 16, I was like, ah, the last person did it. He was texting me saying that he was having an issue. But then he didn't respond to any text about the issue. Which is weird. If you're having a problem, you would think that you would respond to the messages trying to fix the problem. Anyway. Uses permitted and uses not permitted for non-metallic sheath cable are addressed in which of the following section of Article 334? So all of these articles, Part 10 is uses permitted, and point 12 is uses not permitted. You can just flip through to any of them. They are all laid out the same way so that you can find things easily in all of them. The allowable ampacity of type NM cable cannot exceed that of blank rated conductor. 6 degrees. So, type NM cable, that's Romex. If you look in its requirements, I don't remember what section that would be in, but it's going to be in the type NM cable section. It'll tell you cannot exceed that of a 6 degrees Celsius rated conductor. That's why last class I told you on the table 31015B16 table 31015B16 that you should write Romex on the 60 degree Celsius column. Oh, there it is. So let's pull up the images. Oh wow, what is this, a chart for ants? Oh, that didn't help. Let's see if we can maybe do a little bit better. Okay, it's not clear, but you get the idea. So this column, write Romex over it. Let's see who the hell was calling me. Voicemail. Transcribing voicemail. Oh, okay. It's not one of you people. It was my chiropractor being like, "Hey, we just opened back up," which is weird. But the radius of the curve of the inner edge of a 9-degree bend in non-metallic sheath cable. I mean apprentices, Corey. The radius of curve and inner edge. So, non-metallic sheath cable, so type NM cable. Look to that spot for the installation requirements. I figured it would be just like one of you guys to call me while I'm live streaming to ask me a question that I'm talking about when you could just type it. I'm pointing at the chat window. Y'all can't see that. Alright. Where a cable type wiring method is installed through bored holes. Okay, so this one, I think we just moved into lesson 3. I'm not sure, but I think this is lesson 3. It might be the very last question in lesson 2. But, so bored holes through joists and rafters. So you're going to actually look up for this one. Oh, I think it's one of the key words is the joist rafters, studs, joists, and rafters. It's in Article 300, but in the index, I should turn the lights on before I got started. I think it's conductors, then conductors and through. Maybe it's cords and through. Since I know where it is, let's go the other way. Save some time. Article 200 or 300. It's cables. So it's 300.4, and I'll put that up. 304.4A1. This is bored holes. And I genuinely don't remember how I looked that up yesterday. I can't wait to get a new code book. This one's disgusting. I'm pretty sure it's one that somebody let get wet in their car, and it got all moldy, so they brought it up and was like, "Can I borrow a code book?" And then they took it and left their shitty one. Did I just look up studs? Joists? Was it that easy? Switchboards, suspended ceiling grids, swimming pools, surge. Maybe it was bored holes. Oh, it was cable. I almost looked that up. It's cables and then through studs, joist, rafters, which is pretty obvious. It's cables through joists and rafters. It is inch and a quarter is the answer here. Alright, part 1 of Article 300 provides general requirement. This is false. That's true. For over part 2 is over 1,000 volts. That, I mean, I believe it. I'm looking it up still, but requirements for over 1,000 volts. All right, cool. That's table of contents stuff. It's easy, even though I just got it wrong. Article 300 applies to conductors that form an integral part of equipment. That's going to be in the scope of the article. And it's not covered in that scope. You would just need to look up the scope, and so 300.1 is the scope. And B is literally says integral parts of equipment, and it says that no, we don't. We don't do that here. When a hole is bored in a wood joist for the installation of type NM cable, the nearest edge of the hole shall generally not be closer than blank to the nearest edge of the joist. That's going to be in the exact same spot as the last one. The cover for direct barrel conduit is short as... So that is the note. Hang on. That's going to be the note of the 300.5 table that we've kind of talked about already. But direct burial stuff, I have my self-cleaning vacuum set to run at 11. And it's having a problem where it's squealing really loud right now. And I've taken it apart like 6 times and oiled different parts. Haven't found the spot that needs oiling. And I thought I had it. It ran for like 15 minutes earlier. And I was like, yeah, I got it. Then as I was sending the message to my wife, it went, Roar! I'm like, damn it. And then it just kept doing it for like the next 5 minutes. So I had to send her the message. No, never mind. Alright, medium. So, on this one, so let's look up table 300.5 modules. Alright, let's zoom in a little bit. Alright, so we're going to look in this top part. This is a residential branch circuit. So the question is, a residential branch circuit, 120 volts or less. So it's this column is what we're looking at. And then they're talking about it's going under an alleyway, which is under streets, highways, roads, alleyways. So it's going to be 24 inches burial. Again, you turn to 300.5 and read that chart to find your answer. What first level subdivision addresses protection from damage for conductors emerging from the ground operating over 1,000 volts nominal? So, I just happen to know that 300.5 is the burial depth requirements for over 1,000 volts. And that will give you your all the requirements for burial depth over 1,000 volt, or direct burial stuff over 1,000 volts is 300.50. If you looked it up, you would look up burial or cover depth. Cover. What's the word? Blanking on the word. Minimum cover requirements. 300.50 is minimum cover requirements over 1,000 volts. If you look that up, you would look up cover, and then underneath that would send you to over 1,000 volts. They shall be watertight. This is going to be right next to that previous question. Alright, openings around electrical penetrations, fire rated walls. So fire stop. So this is still going to be in 300. This is talking about stopping the spread of fire. Let me look at exactly the wording. Spread of fire or products of combustion. So that's 300.21 is where that is. It's a really hard thing to find. I spent so much time yesterday looking for it. But it's 300.21, and it's having to do with the spread of fire. Prevention, fire stopping, fire prevention, and then under wherever you find that in the index, there will be a spot that says spread of fire, and you'll look that up. All right. So let's get this next quiz started. Before I stop the stream so I don't forget. I never forget, but you know, just to make sure I don't forget, just for our our purposes, you know. All right. So is lunchtime. You guys go ahead and have a good lunch. Get this quiz done, and at 1:45 we will be back to go over this quiz. Y'all have a good lunch. See you in a couple hours.